Aloha class! This week we're going to talk about another one of my favorite topics, learning and development. Now let's start with training. Training provides the knowledge, skills, and abilities that are specific to a task or a job. It accelerates learning that is specific to the organization's needs, and it closes the gap between the current performance and any desired performance that we want or that we need. Now, there are 6 adult learning principles that we want to take into consideration when we're doing some training and development. First, we want to focus on real-world issues. It has to be relatable to the learner. We want to emphasize the application of that learning. Where can our learner utilize this? We want to address the learner's goals and expectations. So as an adult and as a working adult, we all have specific goals, and if we can connect that to the learner, that is only going to reinforce that education piece. We want to allow for challenge of ideas. As adults, we tend to question why or question what or question how, and so that's really important to allow learners to do that. We want to respect the participants' opinions, and we also want to provide opportunities for that sharing and the knowledge. We have 3 main learning styles: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. Now, visual is when we see what we're learning. So we use diagrams or slide presentations or computer-based training. Our auditory is when we read aloud or we can hear recordings. And our kinesthetic is when we use activities that allow for movement. So this is our hands-on piece of learning. So all 3 of those are very important, but we tend to favor one over the other. Some types of learning activities that we might utilize in training would be icebreakers to encourage involvement and participation, lectures that provide a great deal of information, group discussions which can elicit a variety of ideas and viewpoints. Remember, if we connect to the learner, they're more likely to remember it and apply it. We can use demonstrations or role-playing, and this allows a risk-free practice. Case studies are also very popular, and they help us prepare for new situations. Scenarios allows practice of responses to specific situations, and then of course we have our simulations, and this shows the link between the decisions and the results. Now, we often use what's called an ADDIE model when we are doing training and development. The A is ADDIE. The A stands for analysis of needs, so we need to analyze if we need training and what we need training on. The first D is design. We're then going to design the training. The second D is development. We're actually going to put that design into place and develop our training. The I stands for implementation, so actually doing that training on the learners that need it. And then our final E is the often forgotten piece, which is the evaluation. So it's important to always evaluate what is successful and what isn't successful and what we need to change. And then that cycle starts over again. All of these steps are equally important, so it's important not to miss any of these in the ADDIE model. Again, that's ADDIE. We have lots of different types of training. We have on-the-job training as well as off-the-job training. On-the-job training might consist of formal training, learner-controlled instruction, apprentice training, or even shadowing. Some advantages of on-the-job training might be it enhances the transfer of learning directly to the job. It can reduce costs because a separate facility or professional trainer is not needed. It can also motivate employees to learn because the training is relevant. They can see it. They can see how important it is. Off-the-job training is another aspect we tend to use, and this might come in the form of workshops or conferences and seminars, or sometimes simulations, multimedia. We can do case studies and scenarios, also computer and web-based learning. So that's a really great example of sexual harassment. A lot of times we do harassment online training. It's not really in-house. We just do it on the computer. So that would be a great example. Some advantages of off-the-job training would be that it ensures all the training trainees receive the same information. Trainees can concentrate while they're away from work. They're not distracted and responding to emails or having people come in and ask questions. So they're really focused on the task. And then also professional trainers may have more experience and enhance that effectiveness. So on-the-job training and off-the-job training both have its advantages, and they have their disadvantages too. Now, we also have 4 levels of training evaluation that I wanted to chat about. The first one is right after you have the training, the learners will have a reaction to that training. And that's our basic level. Just how do they feel about the training? What's their initial reaction? Did they enjoy it? Do they find it hard? Do they find it restless? The second level is actually going to be the learning. What did they learn at that training? So we often use written tests for that learning. It usually happens right after the training. What did you learn during this training? The level 3 is our behavior, and that's usually seen in job observation. So did they take that learning, the new information they learned, and bring it on the job? And then our 4th level is the results. Did it actually impact the overall organizational effectiveness and efficiency, which is ultimately what we want to do? So that's just a couple of little things on training and development.